Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the St. Charles County Council meeting for tonight. I'll let everybody take their seats. Sorry, man, I just had to do that to you. I'd like to invite everybody to join with us. Don Sanders is here from Harvester Christian Church. He's going to lead us in our invocation. And Councilman Cronin, fresh off of vacation, is going to do our Pledge of Allegiance tonight. Don?
Let's pray. Father God, we come before you right now, and before we ask your blessing, Father, we want to say thank you. Thank you for the blessings that you provide for us, for our country, for our state, for our county, and our cities. Father, we thank you for the people who put their lives on the line to protect us, who serve us, who willingly put themselves in danger so that we can live peaceful lives. Father, thank you for them. We also ask right now that you be with the proceedings tonight. I pray that you be with our councilmen, that you would provide them the wisdom that they need to govern righteously, to govern justly. And Father, we ask for your blessing on all of us. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Would you call the roll?
Councilmember Joe Cronin.
Here.
Councilmember Joe Brazel. Councilmember Dave Hammond. Councilmember Mike Elam.
Here.
Councilmember Terry Hollander. Councilmember Mike Klinghammer.
Here.
Councilmember John White.
This is going to be an interesting evening, isn't it? I can just tell already.
It's going to be fun.
We are few in number tonight, but we are mighty in spirit, so we will have a very fun evening. Any public presentations that I was not aware of? None being seen, so we'll move on to public comments. For those of you unaware, public comments, we do 3 comments on each side, 3 for, 3 against. So once the subject is broached, we will allow up to 6 speakers to speak on that topic. Carol, our first speaker of the evening is?
We have Julie Veal. Hi, my name's Julie Veal,
Yes, ma'am.
and I have 2 homes. I have one at 8 Daytona Court in O'Fallon, and another one I'm living at now is 885 Prigg Road, and I'm wanting to move, like when my daughter graduates from high school, to St. Louis. It's in St. Louis. So I got a landowner notification in St. Louis on Priggy Road that there's Spire Inc. is coming in with a 24-inch natural gas pipeline, unnatural gas. So, as a landowner, I followed through, signed up on FERC.gov. I learned as much about it as I could. But I've already been learning a lot about natural gas. It has some downsides. And, you know, it has some good sides. It does heat the house, and, you know, it does have some good things. But, and if life gets easier and easier with something, you know, you want to, you know, that's good. But if you look at the downsides of natural gas, upstream from natural gas is a fracking. Fracking leaves a lot of bad chemicals in the fracked land, and it creates just a toxic stew, and that's like in Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Ohio. Could be in Missouri, but we just don't have, you know, other places have it. Highland, Illinois, I know. It doesn't leave the water good for now and for generations and generations and generations to come. It's poison, full of stuff that hurts you. Moving on, it causes climate change. With all the fossil fuels, those carbons in the ground for millions of years are going in the atmosphere, changing our climate. This is a $200 million pipeline coming from Scott County, which is, I think, a county just north of Jersey County, under the Mississippi, just west of Portage de Sioux, going through that neck of St. Charles County, and then going under the Missouri River at the 67 Bridge to St. Louis County, and it ends up at the 270 in Mississippi. There's a bidirectional gas pipeline there. This infrastructure, they say it's just a new form of gas, But what's coming after this infrastructure is gas-fired electrical plants. It's more gas storage facilities. All those are pretty hazardous to the local area, along with hazardous to our future, to people around the world, and to people where it's getting fracked on. And that's hazardous for generations upon generations and generations. I encourage you to look up everything you can and know as much as you can.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Next speaker.
We have Chloe Jackson.
Hello, thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm here along with Julie. I'm also concerned about this pipeline. I'm an organizer in St. Louis. I do nonprofit work, and Julie contacted me about 6 weeks ago to tell me about this pipeline. I've worked on eminent domain issues before, and in addition to the environmental issues that Julie raised, I second all of those, and I'd also just like to say I'm concerned about landowners along the route. I'm an urban farmer myself, and am concerned about farmers along the route, not just in St. Charles and St. Louis counties, but in Illinois as well, and I'm reaching out to those folks soon. I'm concerned about the use of natural gas. I'm concerned that landowners and homeowners along the route haven't been told the full truth from Spire Energy, or haven't been given an opportunity to speak publicly against this pipeline or ask their questions and have them answered truthfully. So I'm here in solidarity with those landowners and with Julie here. And I believe that we should have more clean energy in this area and local jobs, and I'm concerned that Spire Energy would bring in workers from out of state that aren't from this area either, and it wouldn't benefit this area in the long term. I'd like to say all those things, and I also have a few documents with the FERC, Federal Energy and Regulatory Commission number docket that Julie mentioned, and some other information from Spire. Julie said that you all have packets from them already. We're also interested in how the county council here and the county council in St. Louis are involved with Spire, and are wondering if you all can give any feedback to them. We've been organizing for the past couple weeks and had a meeting this past weekend. Over 1,000 people expressed interest in coming to that meeting. Only a couple dozen could come, but I'm in contact with many people in this area. So we'd like to stay in touch with you all.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you have any documents, you can leave them with the ladies there, and they'll make sure we get them. Thank you. Next speaker.
Arnie Dienoff.
Mr. Dienoff, I hope you're feeling better than you were a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I am. So a little bit of cough, but I appreciate it. Arnie Dienoff, public advocate and county resident. 2 weeks ago, I asked this county council how we're going to pay for $20 million to pay a bill for an emergency operations center that you contracted with a company in St. Louis County, not in our own backyard, that spurs economic development and hires our neighbors right here at home. I feel that I deserve an answer. Why are we having contractors from out of our community do our project management? We just hired several project managers that are on staff, but yet we're contracting out routinely $20 million in the emergency operations building, $1.8 million in the adult corrections facility, $6.8 million in the New County Park at Pittman Road. Why aren't we doing construction management right here on staff and subcontracting out, making taxpayers or saving taxpayer dollars? I have not received a response or email communication from the county executive nor his staff. Does the county executive and staff who routinely ignores my requests, does he think he or his staff is better than me and our 400,000 residents, county residents, that deserve a response and an answer? This is not the St. Charles County Country Club, but yet it's our taxpayer dollars that are driving and paying for the county executive Elman's salary and his staff in the six figures plus perks and benefits. The county auditor needs to be put on notice. Several people have seen members of the county executive's family go up to the county gas pump across the alley over here and take gasoline that does not belong to them. Some say it's for a son to go to the University of Missouri in Columbia. Others say,
Chairman, I don't think You can't be making those kind of comments or irrelevant or accusatory.
They're factual, and I have the
There's no facts,
proof.
so he can't be
They're
doing
facts, and I have the
Can we
proof.
stick to the issues without calling out individuals? If you have a complaint like that of someone doing, I'd ask you to direct that to law enforcement.
And I am asking all county employees that if they suspect or see county fraud or employee discrimination, that they please report it to me at 314-440-9000 or my email, ARNIEDIENOFF, frankfrank@yahoo.com. We have more, instead of paying these $20 million, which nobody wants to come up with how we're going to pay back or how we're going to pay this money. What about the Rodney Zare, in which this county discriminated against, and a jury awarded Mr. Zare $297,000 and $175,000 in attorney's fees? They haven't seen a check from this county. And then the hundreds of thousands of dollars paid out to Bob Schnarr, the Director of Finance's daughter-in-law, for alleged discrimination in the Department of Corrections. That's a clear fact in CaseNet, and the county awarded and paid out hundreds of thousands of dollars to Mr. Schnarr's daughter-in-law.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Jack Alexander.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm here to talk to you about Bill number 4441, which was a rezoning application that was made by the Stevener family a couple weeks ago. And I represent 10 of the surrounding neighbors. Adam actually has, the Stevener family has a signed document from the people who opposed that. And I'm here to tell you that we opposed that originally because the zoning request was to rezone the entire 23.8 acres as rural residential. And we opposed that because it didn't meet with the current master plan. And in the process of doing that, we found that Adam's family could actually take that same property and have it made into three acre parcels, and the remaining balance into the two additional parcels. And so we reached an agreement with them that said, if you only are going to place 5 houses on the property, then we would support that. And so we're withdrawing our opposition to that because we've reached an agreement with them that they'll only place 5 residences on the property. So I'm here to tell you, and I mean, I have a document signed by all the people who were in opposition, and so that's why we're here, is to tell you that we're withdrawing our opposition as long as we can work within the confines of the current zoning. And I've been to the zoning office. They told us that we could do this, that the family could do that. And so I think we worked out a very amicable solution to the problem that we had.
Thank you very much. If you'd leave that document with the ladies, so we can, that'd be great. Thank you. That sounds great. Next speaker.
Adam Stevener.
Speaking of which,
Good evening. Nothing more too much than what Jack said. Basically, we, planning and zoning, there was some opposition. We worked it out amongst ourselves. We would like to see this go through. It's a family piece of ground that we're going to build our forever houses on. Me, myself, kind of initiated the whole process. Me and my wife are trying to start sooner than later on it, and it was nice of our neighbors to all come together and compromise on everything, and we got all the signed agreements. So if there's any more questions about it, just let me know.
sounds great. When we get to the bill, we'll be able to call you up and ask if anybody
Okay.
has questions.
Sounds great.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Jim Peterson.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm Jim Peterson. I'm a resident. I've spoken with Mr. Brazel after the planning and zoning meeting. And again, I think we've come up with a nice compromise. I would like to withdraw my opposition, urge the council to support the compromise. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
That's it.
That's all for public comments for this evening. Up to oral report from our county executive.
No report.
No report this evening, so we'll move on to our consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to remove the snow guards for discussion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That has been removed. Any other items to be removed?
Motion for approval of the remaining balance of the consent agenda.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The amended consent agenda has been approved, so let's go back to the item that was removed. Mr. Cronin.
Reading that, there was some questions whether we'd be better off putting these snow guards up when we put a new roof on. The contractor can't get the project done for 45 days, which will put us into April. And more than likely, we're not going to have an ice storm in April. So I would like the county to consider putting off this purchase and taking a look at the roof and see when it's going to need to be replaced and try to maybe coordinate the replacement of the snow or the installation of snow guards with the installation of a new roof. I don't know if that's feasible or not, but I've got faith in Corey that he'll dig it out. And we have a resident roof expert in-house too. So I'd like, if possible, to give these guys a couple of weeks to get their heads together and see what they think, if that's possible. That's not a problem.
Any other comments?
No, I agree. It's a TPO roof. It's 18 years old. It's got a lifespan of about 16 years, but it's got good slope, so it's lasting longer than the average roof
Would you
cycle.
pull that microphone down, please?
If we adopt the 2015 IBC and International Energy Code, the roof guards will be set too low on the roof because the insulation is too thin right now, so they'll have to be removed. And so I think that there has to be a little more conversation with the building department and maintenance and facilities on whether or not they should hold off or what they're going to do.
Okay.
It's a
Any other discussion?
$165,000 ice guard, so we don't want to waste it.
Right. I understand. We'll move on to bills for final passage, starting with Bill 4431.
Bill number 4431, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the city of O'Fallon for allocation of funds for work associated with the construction of Bramblett Road.
Any questions or comments about 4431? Seeing none?
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the city of O'Fallon for allocation of funds for work associated with the construction of Bramblett Road. Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Bill 4431 passes on to Bill 4432.
Bill number 4432, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Lake St. Louis for allocation of funds for work associated with the construction of Wharf Road.
Any questions or comments about 4432? Seeing none?
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Lake St. Louis for allocation of funds for work associated with the construction of Wharf Road. Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Bill 4432 passes on to Bill 4433.
Bill number 4433, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a CMAQ program agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the Gateway Greenlight Program Phase 4 Federal Project CMAQ 5414632.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none?
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a CMAQ program agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the Gateway Greenlight Program Phase 4 Federal Project CMAQ 5414632. Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Bill 4433 passes on to Bill 4434.
Bill number 4434, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a CMAQ program agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the Gateway Green Light Program Phase 5 Federal Project CMAQ 5414633.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Cronin?
This is Phase 5. I don't know how many more phases we have, and I know, John, you put a tremendous amount of time and effort, and the county's put a lot of money, and the federal people put a lot of money. Can we get some idea down the road how many phases there will be? And also, is there any empirical data out yet that this system is working and actually saving people time at the intersections? And if so, I filled out the survey that they asked us to fill out. I'm just curious if it's really, if the results are something that you can quantify and tell the public that, yes, it's working and yes, it's saving us time. Okay.
Yes and yes to both of those questions.
Okay.
We'll work up, Amanda, we can work up some data. I think you're working on some of that already on the results of the program and the outcomes that we've seen over the last few years.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I think Jennifer's
has a great presentation in,
It's
John's. It's John's.
Is it your presentation? That this is really just the beginning, the smart cities? You might just say a little bit about that, and maybe we can show it next meeting. This whole smart cities thing, which is going to be the next, 10 or 20 years, this puts us in a position, just tell them a little bit about that.
We basically are building the foundation. We've put in fiber communications between the signals. That fiber network can be used for many things. As you look at smart cities, it's an initiative of how can you use the Internet of all things to get better optimization of not only traffic, but government services by sharing data between the governments, sharing data between the government and its citizens. And so this is we start out looking at traffic, and that's fundamentally the foundation that's got us this far in the program. But as you look in the future, it's going to be more about how do we better optimize and better perform basic government services using high-tech technology. And yeah, we have a little presentation we did together for the legislative delegation, and be happy to share that with the council at any time.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
could we possibly have that in a public presentation in the future?
No, we'll have it next meeting.
Great.
We'll just do that for my report.
Very well. Any other questions or comments on this bill? Seeing none?
Bill number 4434, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a CMAQ program agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for the Gateway Greenlight Program, Phase 5, Federal Project CMAQ 5414633. Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes. Bill 4434 passes. On to Bill 4435.
Bill number 4435, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a termination agreement between St. Charles County and the City of St. Charles, terminating a contract for use of St. Charles County Transportation Sales Tax Funds for reconstruction of Harry S. Truman Boulevard.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none?
An ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a termination agreement between St. Charles County and the City of St. Charles, terminating a contract for use of St. Charles County Transportation Sales Tax Funds for reconstruction of Harry S. Truman Boulevard. Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Bill 4435 passes. On to Bill 4436.
Bill number 4436, an ordinance amending the 2017 budget adopted by Ordinance 16-104 and the Personnel Administration Plan adopted by Ordinance 16-105.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none?
An ordinance amending the 2017 budget adopted by Ordinance 16-104 and the Personnel Administration Plan adopted by Ordinance 16-105. Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Bill 4436 passes. On to Bill 4437.
Bill number 4437, an ordinance amending ordinance number 16-100 requiring that, with certain designated exceptions, bills which have been substantially amended after introduction and prior to final passage be placed on the next duly scheduled council meeting agenda.
Any questions or comments about this bill? Seeing none?
An ordinance amending ordinance number 16-100 requiring that, with certain designated exceptions, bills which have been substantially amended after introduction and prior to final passage be placed on the next duly scheduled council meeting agenda. Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
No.
Councilmember Brazel?
No.
So Bill 4437 fails. On to Bill 4438.
Bill number 4438, an ordinance authorizing execution of two agreements relating to St. Charles County's Urban County Community Development Block Grant Program, or Urban County CDBG Program for 2014 through 2016, namely, a subrecipient agreement between St. Charles County and the City of St. Peters to operate and run the city's CDBG programs and services, and a services agreement between St. Charles County and the City of St. Peters for the city's operation of urban county programs and services.
Any questions or comments on Bill 4438? Seeing none?
An ordinance authorizing execution of two agreements relating to St. Charles County's Urban County Community Development Block Grant Program, or Urban County CDBG Program for 2014 through 2016, namely a subrecipient agreement between St. Charles County and the City of St. Peters to operate and run the city's CDBG programs and services, and a services agreement between St. Charles County and the City of St. Peters for the city's operation of urban county programs and services. Councilmember Klinghammer?
Yes.
Councilmember Cronin?
Yes.
Councilmember Brazel?
Yes.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes. Bill 4438 passes on to Bill 4439.
Bill number 4439, an ordinance amending Chapter 500, Building Codes and County Building Commission, Ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri, OSCC-MO, by adopting the amendments, the 2000 International Building Code, the 2015 International Residential Code for one and two family dwellings, 2015 International Existing Building Code, 2015 International Mechanical Code, 2015 International Fuel Gas Code, 2014 National Fire Protection Association 70 National Electric Code, 2015 International Plumbing Code, 2015 International Private Sewage Disposal Code, 2015 International Energy Conservation Code, 2015 International Fire Code, 2015 International Swimming Pool and Spa Code, respectively.
To entertain a motion?
I'll make motion to withdraw it from consideration at this time.
Motion's been made to withdraw. Do I have a second?
No second.
When you withdraw, you have to have concurrence of 3 council members.
Need all of you.
And so 2 noes and a concur.
Seeing no, the bill stays on the floor. Any questions or comments?
I got a comment.
I got some too.
I'm not going to support this. I read it over and over again and had a bunch of questions. Some of them got answered, some didn't. But what started it was we started, a lot of times you get these huge ordinances and you ask what it is. Oh, it's just updating the codes. And then you start reading it. And what drew attention is having to drywall the basement of a house. When you build a house, you got to drywall the whole ceiling in the basement for fire code. And some of the questions I asked, well, how many people got injured from a fire when the floor burnt up using TGIs? And there really wasn't a substantial answer. And they're risking life. You got to deal with the risk. But that adds about $4,000. If you base everything on a 2,400 square foot house, that's going to add about $1.50 a square foot. And that's about $3,600, $4,000, which would help pay for a couple's furniture. So that's an added cost. So I'm not in favor of it. And then when you want to remodel your basement down the line, most of the stuff you got to tear it out because you got to put electric in for ceiling fans, can lights, mechanical, plumbing, and you got to tear the drywall out that you just paid to have put in because it's a county code. Then there's other stuff in here, goes on and on. You need an engineer seal for anything that has a 5-ton air conditioner unit or 150,000 BTUs, an engineer seal. Well, architects are licensed and bonded and they design houses. And so if you have a 2-story house with 2.5-ton units, I'm assuming that's 5 tons, you got to have an engineer seal on it, which is added cost. And there's a lot of stuff in here, like a deck over 200 square foot have to have an engineer seal. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's costing residents who, first of all, if you're going to build a deck, if you can draw it yourself, you should be able to go in there and draw it yourself if you do it the code. It shouldn't have to be sealed by an engineer. A shed, you got to have a frost wall on a 200 square foot shed. I mean, it just goes on and on. And so
I agree with you, Joe.
I don't support it at all. And
Mr.
I'm
Cronin.
going to vote no for it.
In my district, okay, you have 2 types of building going on. You have buildings in cities with their own building departments, and then you have a lot of rural people that build houses on property that they own, yours included. Okay, I general contracted my own house. I read this. This thing's bad for my district. Okay, if there's, for instance, I have a 6-ton air conditioning heat pump. I'd have to have an engineer come in and do plans. It's going to substantially increase the cost of people that decide they want to build a home on 3 acres on their family farm that's been in their family for 150 years in my district. And the more I read in this thing, I'm sorry, the stinkier it gets, so I don't support it. Okay?
Just briefly.
Very well.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can we have our people respond to those?
Yeah, Jared Agee, I'm not sure if not receiving emails back from us, but most of 3 of those 4 things are all current law. They have been since 2010 on the last code. So I'm not sure if we're struggling with reading that. I'll make sure and help you out with a copy of that. But Jared can address some of those issues.
In the interest of this, of just spinning our wheels, I'm going to call for a work session on this a month from tonight, and we're going to talk about this in more detail. So if you want your people to come up and talk, they're welcome to come up and talk. with regard to time, I would tell you, we're just talking to talk because we're going to do a work session on this anyway. I want the full council to weigh in on this. Councilman Hammond has spent countless hours on this to get to this point. I know the home builders have been involved in negotiating with this, along with Jared and with his department doing that. So I feel it'd be better if the council as a whole weighs in on this at a work session.
I just have one quick question for Jared.
Very well. Jared, would you please come up?
Jared, do you have any idea how this compares to the one they're talking about in St. Louis County?
I think we're probably on the same field.
Okay. But the
Celeste,
article in the newspaper this week said that one was too lenient.
correct.
Okay.
If I could, Mike?
Yes.
So, okay, so we got the same proposal, and the criticism over there is it's too lenient, and the criticism here is too tough. But you think it is the same?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to look at it, but I don't know of any major differences.
Okay.
Mr. Klinghammer.
Well, do you know what they're doing in Jefferson County? Because they don't include the fire structure on the ceiling of I-beam constructed floors there. And we were considering it here. So I think it's something that we need to talk about as a body and come back and kind of see what the cost benefit analysis really comes down to. There's some things in there that I don't agree with. There's others that I think do make for a better house. So I think it's something that we need to take a closer look at. And as with everything else in life, it's some things cost more, and we have to look at the benefits that it provides, and is it worth it? That's what it comes down to. So I look forward to having a work session on it, and I agree with Joe and Joe that there's things in it that I can't agree to tonight. So a work session on it, I think, would be a great idea.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we just,
Sir.
yeah, we need to make sure we've addressed the issues that have been brought up. And then if there are additional issues you want us to look at, if you can let us know before the work session, we could come in and deal with those.
If we could, I think it would be beneficial to have the 2009 code laid alongside the 2015 code, and then the things that are the same, then we don't need to have those as one of the bullet points, but the substantial changes, those are the ones that we need to take a look at, and trying to compare for our perspective,
But the
two
only thing-
300-page documents gets very unwieldy. So what I'd like is to see what's different in the 2015, and then what the cost of them are to implement that.
If it's different, it's
In bold.
in bold.
Right.
If it's not in bold, that means it's existing law.
We don't have the cost on those. That's not there. The drywall is not. It's
bold.
It's substantially different than. Am I incorrect, Jennifer? You're looking at me funny. So
Yeah, I'm really struggling with what you guys are asking for. The only changes we're making to the code are that content that you're reading in front of you. So the code itself is way more pages than you've been provided. You're receiving the content that's changing and how we're deviating from the national code. So if you're walking through and you're reading section 105 on permits, and we're changing something from adjacent grade, and that's bold language, you're going to see that change. And that change is being made not because we are necessarily changing our code, but we're deviating from the federal code. There are lots of places where we have deviated from the federal code for a very long time. Am I explaining that properly? I hope.
Correct.
So it's bold is changing, right?
Mr. Cronin has a comment.
Correct.
I think it's Mr. Ullman's original comment, the fact that St. Louis County seems to think it's too lenient when we think it's too restrictive, might be something the fact that they're mostly Democrats and we're mostly Republicans. And as a good Republican, I like less rules, less regulations, less fines. One thing I don't like about this as well is the fines in here. You get a stop work order, now you got to pay $250, okay? People are already mad in my district when they get a stop work order because they live out in the country and they're putting up a fence and they didn't think they needed a permit. Make them drive down to St. Charles and pay a $250 fine and having court appearances and all that stuff. That's the same kind of stuff that they were pulling in Ferguson. I don't want no part of that in my district, okay?
I think.
Okay? You can, every time you have a violation of this, you can go to jail for a year, okay? And every day that you're in violation is a subsequent charge. You could literally get a life sentence if you didn't paint your house in 3 months for this thing. I mean, I'm sorry, but in my district, 3 miles away, you can drive to Lincoln County, you can build a house without any of this stuff. So, you know, it's too restrictive. Maybe you need this in Darden Prairie, maybe you need this in the city of St. Charles. In rural areas like myself and Mr. Brazel represent, this is onerous and hardship for the people that are building homes up in that area.
Mr. Brazel.
The other point is that the folks like Michael and Michael, most of their residents deal with the cities. They deal
Actually,
with
I would tell you, the three of you all have probably
Substantial
equal.
amount of out of the.
Do you? Maybe you do.
He's north of 70, so everything that Mr. Cronin's saying, Mr. Klinghammer could probably say pretty much the same thing once you get north of the city.
Well, a lot of our constituents got to deal with the county, and they don't have to deal with the city municipal rules. And I mean, you could go on and on, Jennifer. I don't really know what you're talking about, but if you go to page 19, it's bold. It says you got to have a permit for a 24-inch.
I understand you guys aren't
For a
following me.
24-inch fence.
What we'll do is what we do every year on any of these major codes, and we have others like this as well, like the county food code, where we deviate from a national code. We handle the same way, and it's very difficult and challenging to read in bill form. But we go back every single year then, and after this bill would pass, is we'd take all of this content and put it essentially into the St. Charles County version of the building code, so that you don't have to go to a national code, read that, and then come read our edits to the national code. We'll take all of that acceptance that you would be making here, should you do it, and show you only the things that deviate between what is currently law in St. Charles County as of 2010 and what would be law should you adopt the ordinance. And I think that will provide what Councilman Klinghammer is asking for, of just show me how it changes from what's currently on the books in St. Charles County. You're right. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just trying to make the distinction between things that are existing law and things that we've asked to change.
Understood.
You can change anything you want. You can just, if you got 5 votes, you can make us just like Lincoln County, if you got 5 votes to do it. But I was just trying to make it clear what are things that we're trying to change versus things that have already there that you may want to change. So, you can do that, but I just wanted to make sure that you understood some of these things that we're talking about changing here have been in the law before.
Very well. Yes, sir.
If I
We
could
called you up, you might as well speak, right?
If I could make one clarification, I think this would benefit council as a whole. It's to pay attention to the scoping for each of the codes, because here we have about 10 different codes. If you look at this, this is 7,000 pages of information that we've looked at. The scoping calls out where this information pertains. So that comment about that you have to have a design professional for a furnace, that is not true on single-family homes. It only applies to commercial properties. So you have to look at the scope of the mechanical code. And that's going to kind of lead you to where these issues have, and I think that'll kind of explain a few things to you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, sir. Seeing none.
Read the title and call the roll.
Yes, ma'am.
An ordinance amending Chapter 500 Building Codes and County Building Commission, Ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri, OSCCMO, by adopting with amendments the 2015 International Building Code, the 2015 International Residential Code for 1 and 2 family dwellings, 2015 International Existing Building Code, 2015 International Mechanical Code, 2015 International Fuel Gas Code, 2014 National Fire Protection Association 70 National Electric Code, 2015 International Plumbing Code, 2015 International Private Sewage Disposal Code, 2015 International Energy Conservation Code, 2015 International Fire Code, 2015 International Swimming Pool and Spa Code, respectively. Councilmember Cronin?
No.
Councilmember Brazel?
No.
Councilmember Elam?
Yes.
Councilmember Klinghammer?
No.
Bill 4439 fails. Just again, as a point to note here, we will have a work session on this a month from today, and we'll be able to talk through this a little bit more. That wraps up bills for final passage. On to bills for introduction.
Bill number 4440, requested by Michael Hurlbert, sponsored by Joe Brazel, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from A, agricultural district to RR, single-family residential district as per application RZ 16-18.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none?
Bill number 4441, requested by Michael Hurlbert, sponsored by Joe Brazel, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from A, agricultural district to RR, single-family residential district as per application RZ 16-19.
Any questions or comments on 4441?
I got some questions.
Yes, sir.
This is, Adam, this is your thing, right? Yeah, you can come up here if you want. There was a remonstrance filed on that, is this right, Keith? Or did you, Mr. Alexander, did you go in and, did he repeal it, or?
No, not technically, there's not a remonstrance. There's a number of objections from neighbors filing, but it didn't meet the standards for remonstrance.
Okay, well, that was one question, but anyway, what the deal is you got 22 acres here, and the residents, the 5-acre minimum is what, down in this part of the county, is what a lot of people rely on, and some of these folks who came in here in the last 10 years bought property, and they wanted to break off 3-acre lots, and they were told they couldn't, and so they played by the 5-acre rule, and so Adam and his family owned this ground for a long time, and his grandfather owned it, and so him and his brother they were willed 2 3-acre lots, right?
Yeah.
And so the residents were upset about it, and but they come to terms. You guys, what you agreed to, and I'm glad you guys did, because I told them I know everybody involved, and it was putting me in a bad spot. But so you got to 22.8 acres, and you and your brother have 3 acres each, correct?
Yeah, basically through percentages and whatnot, yeah, we own 3.
And then
2
your aunt
3-acre.
has the rest of it, correct?
My aunt and her kids, yes.
And so what you guys have agreed to do is have how many homes on this total 22 acres?
It'll be 5 based on the restrictive covenants that will ever be on it based on the restricted covenants.
Okay, now we don't do restricted covenants,
but that's our agreement with the.
Okay,
with
so
the
what you'll
neighbors.
have to do is when you plot out the 22 acres, and Adam told me what he was going to do, and I talked to Mr. Alexander, and I talked to Jim too, that you just come in, talk about it before you spend all the money on the engineering.
Yep.
And since everybody, is that what you guys agreed to? Then you divide that piece up. You got to divide, and Robert, tell me if this is correct, but he has to divide up to 22 acres. He's got to bring that whole plot in and submit that plot, the 22 acres at one time, right? With the 5 lots on it. And so, in doing so, if you got the remaining land, that's just because you divide it up, don't mean you got to, you can still do what you do with it, but it's just going to be plotted in that fashion. Is that correct, Robert?
They could do it several ways. They could plat the entire property at once, or they could bring it in phases, or they could just plat one lot.
Well, I
they've got
think
some
though for the
options.
security of, I think what they're trying to accomplish, what the neighbors want to accomplish is just have an agreement where it's a done deal, where there can't be changes made later. So I think in fairness, to make it a whole deal, they would have to plot the whole lot. They'd have to plot the whole 22 acres, and I would think that the remaining 3 lots would have to be less than 6-acre lots. Because that's what me and Adam talked about, because if it's a 6-acre lot, if one lot's a 6-acre lot, then you could come back and try to divide it later. So if it's less than 6-acre, like 5.2, or, you see what I'm saying?
Because I have 2 younger kids, I have no idea what they're gonna do with their lives. That's my thing. So like, if we do this now, though, I mean, I am not.
Yes, ma'am. With all due respect, people at home have no idea what you're saying from that far back, so
Sorry.
I don't want you to have to yell across the room.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My thing is Travis and Adam both have their 3 acres. Adam wants to start very soon on a home. I probably will be starting within the next couple years. I have a high schooler still though, and I have one in college, which I have no idea, what their future plans will be. They may not even be, or they may not even want to ever build there. I don't know yet. It's too early to say. But I have to be fair in that, whereas if we can have 5 homes, that allows each grandchild and myself a home. An opportunity to have a home if they want. I don't even know for sure down the line that they will, they may become.
Well, no, that's fine, but the bottom line is you just need to divide the whole 22 acres into 5 lots and submit that to the county, and
Okay.
then whatever you do with it's on you.
What if,
You
I was
don't
gonna say,
have to-
then if they don't use one of
You
those
don't have to
lots,
do-
then
no,
it's,
no.
okay,
It's okay.
that's, just so we're not.
Yeah, you
I
don't have to
know
do
for
anything
sure.
with it. You
Okay.
just have to submit it. He has to submit it that way.
Yep.
Yeah, I just want him to be able to get started on his house and, because the rest is so future, we don't even know
And I
for
think
sure
that
yet, so.
satisfies you guys out there, right? Adam, or Alexander and Jim, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I'm glad you guys worked it out, though.
Any other
Thank you.
questions?
And then, Adam, you know what to do, and you get with,
I'll get with planning.
Robert Meyer.
Yep,
He's-
yep.
yeah.
I've talked to him numerous
All
times
right.
before this, so.
All right, guys, thank you. And then
Mr. Crum.
come in when you have it, the.
Yeah,
when
we'll,
you-
we'll try to get it going.
So we'll
as soon
table
as-
this until
Okay.
you're ready to come back.
Can we see if you guys vote for it or not to do the 2 3-acre parcels in rural
We'll
residential?
vote on that in 2 weeks.
Okay, gotcha.
So hang on a second, Mr. Cronin.
It's really nice when you folks all get together and work things out like that.
Yes.
That makes good friends and good neighbors in the community.
Yep.
It makes our job a lot easier.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, can we pass it? Can we pass it with the intent of this 5 lots, or does he have to give you the plot?
It's for introduction tonight, so he has 2 weeks.
I know, but if he doesn't, what I'm asking you, can we pass it in 2 weeks without a plot plan, or does it have to have a plot plan?
Or should I just get with him after this?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
That's what we're going to end up doing, but this is the long way to get there.
They don't have to have a plot plan. What they're discussing is a private covenants, and so typically we're not a party of that, especially at the zoning stage. We require that they be submitted as part of a plat when it's being reviewed, but the zoning stage, we're not involved with private covenants, and it's a private agreement between 2
I
parties.
know my question is, he wants to get started sooner. Can we pass the ordinance with, do we have to have it plotted out? Does it have to be plotted out?
No, it doesn't have to be plotted out.
Okay.
So to be clear, we could pass this the way it sits, and he can
Correct.
get started on his own.
Correct, yeah.
Excellent. Any other
Okay.
questions? Thank you for coming up. Thank you for coming up. On to Bill 4442.
Bill number 4442, requested by Craig Takowski, sponsored by council as a whole, an ordinance authorizing the county executive or designee to join the Eastern Missouri Pavement Consortium to be comprised of governmental entities sharing a common interest in quality materials and construction used in public infrastructure projects, and to enter into an agreement describing the purposes, procedures, and operation of such consortium.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, on to 4443.
Bill number 4443, requested by Amanda Brower, sponsored by council as a whole, an ordinance approving an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Weldon Spring for the Independence Road Phase 3.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none?
Bill number 4444, requested by Amanda Brower, sponsored by council as a whole, an ordinance approving an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Weldon Spring for the Independence Road Phase 4.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to 4445.
Bill number 4445, requested by Betty Jan Kramer, sponsored by council as a whole, an ordinance amending section 250.500 ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri, OSCCMO relating to county park regulations.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, 4446.
Bill number 4446, requested by Steve Ellman, sponsored by Mike Elam, an ordinance authorizing execution of an agreement with the St. Charles County Economic Development Council, DBA, EDC Business and Community Partners, for the EDC to provide $55,000 of services for marketing, training and education, and technical assistance to businesses seeking financing from financial institutions.
Any questions or comments on 4446? Seeing none, we have no tabled bills. Any announcements or miscellaneous? Mr. Cronin, I would welcome you back. I hope you enjoyed your vacation.
I was hoping they build the wall so I could stay.
I would tell you that, just one more note, that we will do a work session on the building codes. That is going to be on Monday, March 13th. If there is nothing further, I would entertain a motion to dismiss.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are dismissed. Thank you for coming.